Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to make a build video on Jade. So Jade, if you don't know, her special gimmick is that she has 2 aura slots as a Warframe. So you can see here we have Brief Respite in 1 and Corrosive Projection. And you can see it's red, which means I have it in the wrong polarity. So we have 79 total energy and 1 left over. But if you were to swap this for something that matches the polarity, you would go from 5 to 14, and you have 88 energy on this frame. But I'm using this one to cause the enemies to lose some armor, which is Corrosive Projection. You could swap it out for Growing Power, or anything else really you see fit. And then this one here is an all slot, so you could put literally anything here. So I added Brief Respite to convert 150% of the energy we use to shields. And then we have Coation Drift to increase the benefits gained from our auras. So for our mods, we have Prime Continuity for more ability duration, Transient Fortitude for more strength, Rolling Guard just so that you can dodge and have a little panic button. If you want, you could swap in Adaptation. I feel like it would be fine on Jade. Fast Deflection for more real shield recharge rate, Stretch for more ability range, Equilibrium so that we can pick up health and energy orbs to keep our energy going because we have a lot of abilities that are just straight drains. We have Umbral Intensify for more ability strength, and Flow for more energy maximum. And then we have Molt Augmented for more ability strength, and Molt Arcane Energize. If you don't want Energized, you could throw in something like Arcane Aegis. Another build we have is this one here, which is my old build before I worked on a new one. So we have Growing Power for more ability strength, Dreamer's Bond for energy and health regen, Power Drift for a little more strength, Prime Continuity for more duration, Intensify for some strength, Streamline for efficiency, Adaptation for 90% DR, Stretch for some more range, Flow for energy maximum, Augur Reach for a little more range, and Archon Vitality, which gives us HP, and then status effects that are heat will be applied twice. And then we have Molt Augmented and Arcane Energize for some more energy. With that being said, I will take this first one here, and we will go into the Simulacrum so I can show you her abilities, which, speaking of her abilities, so your passive, you have 2 aura mod slots, which is part of her passive, but also her abilities apply Judgment, increasing enemy damage vulnerability by 50% for 10 seconds. Your first ability is Light's Judgment, create a well of light that heals allies and hurts enemies. Those who enter will be highlighted by judgments. Your second ability is technically 3. You have Power of the 7, which gives you ability strength, Deathbringer, which gives you weapon damage increase, and Spirit of Resilience, which helps with your shields and recharge delay for them. Your third ability is Phantom Eyes, which I think I've mentioned this before in a video wanting to test this as a subsume on, I believe it was Nova. But you have these eyes that float around you, and they will slowly disintegrate armor and shields, so it'll armor strip enemies, and then if your allies are in range of your gaze, it will revive them. And then this also does heat damage. And then your fourth ability, you fly in the air, and then you have an alternate fire, which is, for me, it's middle mouse click. But you left click to throw out the little balls of explosions, and then you can alt fire, and anybody standing inside of your first ability's radius will explode. Alright, now with Jade's abilities covered, let's run into the Simulacrum, and I can show you how these abilities function, and then we can jump into a Steel Path mission after that, and I can show you how Jade works in a mission. Alright, now we are here in the Simulacrum, and so for Jade's abilities, basically the way you want to play her, your first ability, I'll jump up here so you can see it before I go crazy with combos. You throw this little ball, and it does AoE damage to the enemies, and you can have 3 of these out at a time, so you can triple stack it. And you can see here they're taking a good amount of damage, just tick damage. And then your second ability, you have your first, which increases your ability damage. Your second one increases your weapon damage. And your third one increases your shield effectiveness. And then your third ability is Phantom Eyes, and you can see here I'll stand by these guys. We're draining their armor, and it is a full armor strip with this setup. And you can see the range on it that we can hit. Pretty solid. And then you can see it's a cone in front of you. You can tell by the green light on the floor. If they're in range of that green light, they can be damaged by it, basically. And then let's grab a little more energy really fast. Now, her fourth ability, you can just fly. You hold space to ascend, or whatever your jump button is, and then your crouch button to go down, and you can pretty much just no-clip around the map. And then we can keep a Phantom Eyes running so that we have the AoE damage. And then we can throw out our Light's Judgment so that they have all the stacks. And then with your 4 active, your left click, you can see here we're throwing out little damage balls. And then if you right click, you'll make everybody in the radius explode. But it will turn off this ability after a set number of explosions. Now let's get these guys spawned back in, and I can show you how you really want to use Jade. Alright, now these guys are reset. So the way you really want to play Jade is, if you're in Steel Path, you really want to keep your shields buffed at all times, but anything else you can do ability, strength, or weapon, depending on your situation. So what you want to really do is fly up in the air, cast your AoE armor strip, and then while it's going, you want to throw your Light's Judgment around so that you can get as many enemies as you can in there. And then you just want to start alt firing and spamming damage out on these guys. And then one thing I also forgot to mention when I was talking about Jade earlier is she has a exalted weapon type of thing called Glory. And this uses the same mods as pistols do. And here's the build for that. So we have Barrel Diffusion for multi-shot, Hornet Strike for damage, Pistol Gambit for crit chance, Pistol Pestilence for some toxin and status chance, Target Cracker for more crit damage, Jolt for electricity and status chance. If you don't have this, you can throw on Convulsion for electricity. We have Gunslinger for fire rate, which I haven't upgraded yet because I still need to throw some Formas and things on here. And then we have Heated Charge for heat damage. I imagine there's a 60-60 heat mod that you would want to throw here instead, but this setup gives us corrosive and heat. And then if you want this build, it's a little bit different. This last slot, you could put really anything here if you want to. I went ahead and threw in a Bane just because why not? Extra slot, Bane time. So let's get these enemies spawned back in, and I can show you this version of her Glory. I'm not going to use any of the abilities this time other than 1 to just get the AoE, and 2 for armor stripping. So this one, you can see we shoot a lot faster than last time. And then our alt fire here. And you can see the big HP ticks we're dealing to these guys. There we go. And then the enemy, you can see here above him, he has that icon, the green, which is kind of hard to see with all the status. There we go. That means he has Judgment on him, and if they have that icon, even if they're not in your circle, you can hit your alt fire and make them explode and do big old chunks of damage. Those are the 2 builds for Jade and Glory. So we will jump in and do some Steel Path missions to show this off in like an actual live scenario. Alright, now we are here in Steel Path, and I'm going to go ahead and buff up my shields, activate my 4, fly up in the air, and I'm going to start doing damage to these guys. Blow them up. See this guy here. Ran out of energy, so let's go ahead and do a mercy to this guy. Yeah, when it comes to frames, I would say Jade's more energy hungry than others. So I would lean into... you could honestly, if you want, instead of Equilibrium, throw on Adaptation just to give you the passive energy regen. But I'm fairly certain that while your abilities are active, you will not regain any energy, so you will be stuck with... There we go. See if we can't get some more energy from some of these guys. There we go, we got some more energy. And now we can go back to doing our thing. Let's get our shields buffed back up. I'm actually not going to fly this time. Throw that out, make them a little more vulnerable to damage. Turn on the eyes again. There we go. So some things with Jade to keep in mind if you do decide to use these builds as well is, one, she's very energy hungry, but two, in order to use Glory, or make use of Glory, her weapon, you have to have your 4 active, and then throw these little balls down in order for them to get the Judgment so you can use it in its full capabilities. Because if you don't have any Judgment, you can't actually do the alt fire without them having the little marker. But you can see, like, I'll just float around here and look in the bottom right-hand corner, and you can see our energy's draining pretty quickly. And then I'm going to go ahead and activate Phantom Eyes and buff my shields. And that dropped us all the way down to 30 energy, so she's pretty energy hungry. So I would honestly recommend trying to get primed flow instead of regular. You can see normal does work, but a lot of the time, I have 0 energy to use, aside from just activating a Phantom Eyes whenever I get it. Let's get rid of Mania. But for Jade, she's really fun because she's another support frame, kind of like Harrow, Citrine, etc. Other support frames. But I like Jade because she's a support in a different way, whereas you have your shield ability and weapon damage buffs, which these do go to your entire team, by the way. I don't remember if I mentioned that earlier, but these buffs do go to your whole team instead of just you. So the ability damage buff, honestly, is pretty solid to just give to your whole team. If you have someone like Revenant, Gauze, any frame really that wants to have a high strength number, will enjoy having Jade with them. And then your resurrection with your eyes from far away is also super duper nice in close quarters or big open survival. Either one, really. You don't have to actually stop doing what you're doing to revive them. You just have to look in their direction and you'll be reviving. So Jade overall is really nice to have just as an option or a utility frame more than anything. But you don't always have to activate your 2 or eyes, honestly. You don't need to really use the eyes unless they have armor. I would mostly stick to, if you do play Jade, keeping your 4 active and just flying around throwing your Light's Judgment on the ground. And then using Glory, because this uses energy every single shot you throw out. And then doing your alt fire, which uses about 10 to 20 energy per explosion. Let's get 3 of those out. Because the more rings they're in, I'm pretty sure, the more damage they take from Light's Judgment. But with everything said, that is my guide for Jade and how I would recommend playing her. I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one.